of Advice, the place which changes people's lives.
Kelley Kosow, lawyer turned certificate master integrative life coach. Kelley was handpicked and personally trained by Debbie Ford to lead the Ford Institute and continues the legacy of this life-changing work. Truly gifted in supporting people to realize their limiting patterns, behaviors, and shift their lives and relationships. Kelley also works one-on-one with clients and works with high-profile executives, professional athletes, celebrities, as well as corporations. Most recently, Kelley has completed her first book, The Integrity Principle. Featured in Oprah magazine as someone who could dream it, do it. You can learn more about Kelley visiting fordinstitute.com or kelleykosow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelley Kosow.
Today with me I have Kelley Kosow. Hi Kelley.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Kelley, for all those people who doesn't know you, what's your base work, or what was the base drive to make this what you're doing right now?
So right now I'm one of the heads of the Ford Institute, and a lot of what I do now is shadow work based on the work of Debbie Ford, who was the founder of the Ford Institute and wrote 9 best-selling books. And she passed 2 years ago, almost to the day, and she had left her institute to another woman and myself. And so it's all based on shadow work. And really and truly, before I learned shadow work, or when I learned shadow work, that's when I got liberation. Shadow are the parts of yourself that you don't like, you don't want to be, you've disowned.
The dark side.
The dark side, exactly. So our work is about bringing the light to the dark side. And so if you find out, because so many of us don't want to be this, we don't want to be stupid, we don't want to be irresponsible, we don't want to be lazy, or we have beliefs that we would call shadow beliefs. I'm not good enough. I don't belong. I'm not lovable. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy enough. So you have all of these shadows that live inside your unconscious. You don't even realize they're there, because generally we create all these meanings and interpretations under the age of 10 as a result of some event that happens or some message we got from our family. But we forget about the event, but the interpretation that we made, or what we made them mean about us, it lives in the shadows of our unconscious, and it drives our operating system. So if I have some belief I'm not good enough, I will never go for what I want to do, because God forbid, I never want to feel the pain or shame of being not good enough.
Yeah.
If when I was a kid, I stuttered when I went to read in class, and all the kids laughed at me and I felt stupid, then I never want to feel that pain or shame again. So I'll always play small, because I'll never put myself in a position where I should feel stupid. And I'll probably go and create this overachiever personality, so no one will ever think I'm stupid, but I'm doing it as a result of trying to avoid or disown that part of me. So when you do shadow work, it's about bringing the unconscious conscious and understanding what is running your operating system. And when you first unconceal it and see all these shadow beliefs, and when you look at how they've run your life, it's fascinating. I mean, I deal with thousands of people, and it's fascinating to see that something happened when you were 5 that you don't even remember, and it is influencing how much money you'll make, who you'll go out with, everything, all of your interactions and actions. And so when someone can bring it to the light, they can see, they can then look at, oh my God, that poor 7-year-old child, they had no other, way to deal with this situation, so they had to create that meaning, and how it's impacted your life and driven you. Then that's the start of the liberation. The other great thing that our work is based on is the concept of wholeness. That we are everything. Every trait I see in the outer world is within me. So, and we need, one of my favorite lines is God didn't give us any spare parts. Every characteristic or emotion is within us, and we need them. And so that
and we need them.
And we need them. Like my mean self could help me set a boundary. My angry self might be my passionate self. So really our work is based on the concept that we are everything, and every experience even that's happened to us is part of our soul's evolution. And it's happening for us, not to us. So the reason you get in, because before I used to maybe wanted to be 5 things. All I wanted to be growing up was smart and, charismatic and this and that. And I thought that would make me perfect, which is what I was going for. But you boxed yourself in. And so when you can get that everything is there to serve you and have a healthy relationship with all your emotions and all your characteristics, then you can relax.
So it's not about getting rid of those shadows.
No.
It's about implementing them.
It's about embracing them. It's about bringing love. Our work is totally, at the end of the day, about self-love. And it's starting to love every piece of yourself. So I love my mean self. I love my irresponsible self. I love my flaky self or my failure self. All those parts that I didn't want to be, I now see that every part of me, every emotion, and every experience I've had has a gift. And if I can find that gift and know that it's for my soul's evolution, even when I'm going through something that's horrific, I'm always saying to myself, okay, I know there's a gift here. What's the gift, God? Okay, where's the gift? What am I supposed to be learning? So I don't have resentment because I know everything is being done for me.
Okay. So is it also means that we actually we don't need to change ourselves, we just need to love ourselves more? Or
well, just in that you'll change. Could you imagine if people totally love themselves?
All right.
Because if you love yourself and you're feeling worthy, then you're going to make higher choices for yourself.
I understand, but some of those shadows I think really can be really helpful, and then can be really because I'm thinking I'm stupid. This is kind of, this very easy one. But for example, if you're getting angry too fast and you're hurting people with it, and so what it's just to accept and let it be as it is, or.
Well, you want to have a relationship with your anger.
Okay.
Because if your anger is there, it's there to inform you. So if you're feeling an emotion, most people don't want to be angry.
Yeah.
They were taught being angry is bad, being angry is this, being angry is that. You don't want to be the angry person. And so in our work, it's about, okay, because if you try to, it's like the beach ball. If you try to push it down, you can only push it down so long, and all of a sudden it's going to pop up and it's going to hit you and everybody else in the face. So anything you try to, what you resist persists. So you can't push it down. So you don't want to get rid of it. That's why we have so many passive-aggressive people running around in the world. Because they've tried to disown their angry self. Our thing is, your anger, they're there to educate you. We are emotional educators at the Ford Institute. And so what we do is, if there's an emotion there, it's there to educate you. I always see my emotions like another little person, and I sit there, okay, anger, what am I angry about? Because for me, usually under my anger is fear. And then if I can find out, okay, I'm angry at something, what's my fear? My fear is I'm fear of finances, I'm fear of dying alone, I'm fear of this, I'm fear of that. Then I can take responsibility. Okay, what do I have to do now so I'm not feeling that feeling of fear? So I embrace my fear, because let's say it's fear of finances. Well, I can do something to be responsible about my fear. I don't have to live in fear of stuff. So I can then look, okay, what action step, because coaching is very action oriented. It's about taking steps to, integrate whatever it is you're working on. So if I can then, okay, maybe I have to do a budget, or maybe I have to find an investment advisor, or maybe I have to do this or after that, I can take responsibility for my life. And and I'm very thankful for that emotion, because that emotion of anger got me to my fear, which then I got to look at, okay, what can I do so I'm not living in that? And it got me to responsibility.
How's this shadow process work? Like, for example, if someone arrives to your seminar on the shadows, how's that work?
Okay, it is the most awesome 2.5 day. It is a miracle to watch what happens, because it's really this journey from the dark to the light. And for most people, it's just as hard, if not harder, for them to accept their light, for them to accept their magnificence, their brilliance, their this and that, because they've been told so often all the bad stuff. You know, oh, you're stupid. You know, it's easier to believe the bad stuff. So we start off, and it's very conversational. It's also very safe. We create this beautifully safe cocoon where people can share things that generally, you know, they always say, I've never shared this with anyone, because we have lots of our coaches, trained assistants there. Everyone is there. They want to shift. They don't want to take the same baggage back home with them. And so we have, you know, interactive processes and inner processes that people do. So it's a beautifully like orchestrated kind of weekend where there's conversation, there's sharing, and there's doing experiential work. In that room, humanity is invited and welcomed and loved. And you don't get that. Most people don't want to leave.
From your perspective, what is the purpose of this, our human experience, or, you know, and how's that shadow work actually serve it?
You can interpret it in one of two ways. You can either have something empower you or disempower you. And so it's going back and looking at something through different eyes and seeing, wow, of course, you know, if I was brought up in a house where people were told, you can't trust anyone, you can't trust anyone, you can't trust anyone. Of course, what would I go do? I would go find someone, because that was my belief, that you can't trust anyone. And even though I didn't realize it was there, I would go out in the world and I would marry a man who was untrustworthy, because that Band-Aid, I needed to understand that I had that, because I never trusted anyone before. And then finally, I got the betrayal happen. What you resist persists. And it happened. And then I had to look at my whole relationship with trust and people. And it was a result of that now I trust myself. I trust the universe. I know that everything's happening for my evolution. So I have a whole new relationship with trusting other people. And I can allow you or anyone else to be exactly who you are and show up exactly as you are.
Yeah. Okay, so could you share, like, maybe you have a story how actually that's changed your life, that this work about you?
Well, it's changed my life in every which way. I mean, I can tell you so when I started really coaching in this work, it was after Debbie created a model after her book Spiritual Divorce came out. And she created a coaching model, which we call Healing Your Heart. And it's about using your relationships as a mirror for you to see yourself. Because if there's one person in the room you can't see, it's you. So we call forth people and experiences into our lives to show us. So this model, coaching model, is using your relationship as a mirror to show you you. Because a lot of times I don't even know I've disowned a trait. But if all of a sudden I see a trait in you, and if it like triggers me and pisses me off, like, oh, you're so this, you're so greedy, that means it's something in me that I've disowned. As well, if it's a great trait and I'm in awe of it, like, oh my gosh, you're so charismatic, you're so talented, that's a light characteristic that I've disowned, a positive characteristic that I don't see in myself, but I see it in you, but you're my mirror to show me, because I wouldn't recognize in you what's not in me.
I know you have your own book as well, right? And you're working now.
I'm writing my first book.
Okay, so could you tell us more about do you want to tell something about it?
Yeah, of course. All right, so my book is called The Integrity Principle, and it's really about this word integrity, which for me is a huge word. Integrity isn't a destination, it's really a way of being. And if you decide to live an integrity-guided life, or decide to have that as the barometer through which you live your life, life becomes easier. And of course, integrity, what's in integrity for me, first of all, it's being all of who you are and looking at your highest desires and living in integrity with that vision. So if you can start living an integrity-guided life, you're going to feel worthy and you're going to make higher choices. So you're going to spiral up in your desires and in your highest.
Imagine that those people you're talking to are younger than you, so they maybe start their life, or maybe their career, or maybe they're young girls, or maybe they're a couple, maybe they're mothers, whatever
Right.
you feel, you would like to share and give advice.
So I think the first is looking inside yourself for your answers and who you want to be. Because we all do spend so much time looking to the outer world to define us, to validate us, to affirm us, and that never works.
How they could do this? The shadow work, what else?
Well, shadow work is, and that's really what my book Integrity is, because integrity is about figuring what you want and who you want to be. And
shadow
going
work,
there.
buy this book, what else?
I think it's just a practice. It's really a practice. It's like doing yoga or something. It's got to be a practice of going inside for the answers. And every time you look to the outer world to validate you, or you look to someone else to tell you something and take that over your own advice, you can get information from other people, but that's just their information. That's just their opinion, not take it as the truth. I would put something up on my mirror to remind me, or on your phone, or whatever it is, or a red string people wear sometimes, or an elastic, as a reminder to always go inside for the answer. Because that's the muscle that needs to be developed. I would start very young with my kids, trying to empower them to have that muscle, saying, what do you think? Or even when they were really little, do you want to wear this or this? Because I always wanted them to know that there was a choice in life.
The third one?
Life is always there to reflect back you. It's like that, William Shakespeare, quote about all the world is a stage and everyone an actor. It's almost like we all have our own stage and life is showing us. So life is always there teaching you. Anyone I meet, it's for my edification. Any experience from have, it's for my evolution. And so really to get that life is always giving you feedback and it's always trying to teach you. The other piece of advice that I always do is I will say anything that happens for me, to me, or what I think is to me. I say myself, what am I supposed to be learning from this? So anything that happens, even like if it's a flood in my basement or something, what am I supposed to be learning from this? And that way I'm never the victim and always the co-creator of my life.
All right. The fifth one?
That you can have liberation. You can be free, you can be liberated, and you really can learn to love all of yourself. Life does not have to be a struggle. Life can be easy, and your thoughts are so powerful. And I watch so many people who believe they have to suffer, it has to be hard, it has to be difficult, it has to be about struggle. But really and truly, you can shift your thoughts, you can understand where they came from, and then you can shift them, and you can really move into a different paradigm with life. And so to some extent, the next piece of advice, and this might be 6, but my lucky number is 7, so I don't care,
All right, okay.
is that you have to declare it. You have to claim your life. Ultimately, you have to claim, this is who I am, and this is what I want. It's really stepping into your worthiness. And when you declare it, that's when the universe aligns.
What would you recommend people to do when they feel down, when they have this like a cloudy moment in their lives and they're not feeling really good? And
anytime there's a breakdown, it's because a breakthrough is right on the other side of the breakdown.
So if someone will ask you how to live a happy, fulfilled life, what would you tell them?
To do their inner work.
First.
Yeah. To really do their inner work, because you can have moments of happiness or you can have moments, but if you're really going to sustain it, And I think that's the difference in this work. It's sustainable. It's sustained. You know, we all gone to a workshop or read a book and we feel good 3 days after, 2 days after. But really doing your inner work as a practice, that's the way to sustain a happy life, because most of us aren't brought up thinking the way we think. I was not brought up this, so I had to change my whole mindset, and that's really why I went on staff. I needed to be in this conversation to make it my conversation, so I needed to be in the conversation 24/7, and now my brain just thinks this way.
How to overcome disappointment or being hurt?
Well, in our work, we would look at how you co-created it, because so many people, it's our belief system. Like, I have a lot of clients, and I actually had this belief that I will be disappointed. And so if you have a belief, and again, it formed when you were a kid, when your parents like took away the chocolate ice cream cone from your hand, and you're like, or the doll, or this or that, but you form a belief that life will disappoint you. And so you keep just expecting to be disappointed, or that person will let me down, that person will reject me, that person will this or that to me. And it keeps happening. So in our work, you really want to go in and see what's your belief system about disappointment. And I can't tell you how many people have. Living more from my bucket list than my to-do list, you know, because that's what I've always done. I've lived off of all these things I'm supposed to be doing.
That's a great piece of advice.
I know, I've got 7!
That's great.
So that is, live more from your bucket list than your to-do list.
That's
And I did that, and last year I started doing that, and I wrote my book, and I went to Bali with my children.
Cool.
So I'm living more from my bucket list than my to-do list, and I'm not just talking about it, I'm doing it for change.
And you can become a mentor for millions of people around the world. Just go to the Leave Your Advice section and share your wisdom with the world. And if your story is outstanding, we will come to you and record an exclusive interview about your story.